Emma hadn't always believed in second chances. After her messy divorce and years of struggling to get her business off the ground, she had learned to keep her guard up. But when she opened her bakery in the heart of her small town, something inside her softened. She was finally doing something for herself. The warm smell of vanilla and cinnamon, the sound of customers chatting, it made her feel alive again. What she didn't know was that behind that new beginning was a darkness waiting to return, and it would show up in the form of someone she thought she could trust. That's when she met Dr. Tyrek Barnes, a licensed therapist known in town for being deeply empathetic and intensely involved with his clients. Emma started seeing him during a fragile phase, lonely, raw, and trying to piece her identity back together. At first, Tyrek seemed like the perfect guide, attentive, gentle, and always willing to listen. But then the lines started to blur. His sessions began to feel more personal than professional. Emma found herself opening up in ways that felt unnatural. Something was off, but she didn't realize how off until it was far too late. Tyrek told Emma that she was special. He said their connection was different from anything he'd experienced with a client. At first, she felt flattered. After years of feeling unseen, Tyrek made her feel understood. Their professional boundaries faded quickly. Texts at odd hours, long emotional phone calls, and even late-night visits. Emma justified it as part of her healing journey. But friends began to notice the red flags. They warned her, gently at first, then more directly. Still, Emma insisted that Tyrek was helping her heal. She didn't see the control. She didn't see the obsession. Eventually, Tyrek convinced Emma to stop seeing other therapists. "They don't understand you like I do," he'd whisper during their sessions. His words were soothing, but laced with manipulation. He began inserting himself into every part of her life, giving opinions on her bakery, her finances, even her friendships. Emma, slowly isolated, began to rely on him for everything. What started as therapy turned into something much darker. She didn't know it yet, but she was being groomed, emotionally, psychologically, and possibly for something far worse. Things escalated when Emma tried to set boundaries. She told Tyrek she needed space, that their relationship felt too intense. That's when everything changed. The man who once seemed calm and understanding became hostile. He accused her of betrayal, abandonment, of being ungrateful for all he had done. Emma was shocked. She had never seen this side of him. But instead of backing away, she tried to fix things. She blamed herself, thinking maybe she had misunderstood his intentions. Tyrek, meanwhile, was already spiraling into obsession. Emma started keeping secrets, telling friends she was fine when she wasn't. Tyrek's behavior was growing more erratic. He'd show up uninvited at her bakery, sit for hours, and stare at her from across the room. Once, she found him waiting outside her home at midnight. "I just wanted to make sure you were okay," he said, smiling. Emma tried to downplay it, but inside she was terrified. She began documenting everything: texts, voicemails, strange notes he left behind. She even contacted another therapist for advice, but it was too late. Tyrek couldn't stand the idea of losing control. When Emma cut off contact completely, he spiraled further. He sent threatening messages, veiled as concern. He told her that without him, she'd fall apart. Emma filed a restraining order, but even that didn't stop him. Police reports were made, but enforcement was weak. Tyrek was careful, calculated. He never did anything directly violent until the day he did. What followed would shake the quiet town to its core and expose a pattern far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. On the morning of the attack, Emma had just opened her bakery. It was early, the sun barely risen. She was alone, setting up the pastry display, when Tyrek walked in. Surveillance footage shows him calm, composed, carrying a small bouquet of flowers. Emma's face, captured on camera, shifts from surprise to dread. She tries to smile. She steps out from behind the counter, perhaps hoping to de-escalate the situation. But what happened next wasn't just unexpected, it was brutal. and it would end everything Emma had worked so hard to rebuild. Tyrek pulled a knife from under his jacket. In a matter of seconds, the calm shattered. Emma tried to run, but he lunged forward. The struggle lasted less than a minute. A delivery driver, arriving moments later, saw Tyrek fleeing the scene. Emma was found bleeding on the floor, barely alive. She was rushed to the hospital, but despite the efforts of doctors, she didn't make it. The town, stunned and heartbroken, mourned the loss of someone who had only just begun to live again. Tyrek was arrested hours later, trying to leave the state. In the days that followed, more information surfaced. Emma wasn't Tyrek's first special client. Several former patients came forward, sharing eerily similar stories of emotional manipulation, boundary crossing, and obsession. But none had ended in violence until Emma. Her story became a rallying cry about the importance of professional ethics in therapy, the dangers of emotional grooming, and how obsession can hide behind a caring smile. Tyrek's trial would become a media spectacle, but Emma's memory would remain the focus for those who loved her most. Emma's trust in Tyrek deepened quickly. He wasn't just her therapist, he became her confidant, her emotional anchor. She started skipping sessions with other providers and only wanted to speak with Tyrek. He told her she was special, that he had never felt this kind of connection before. Emma, vulnerable and eager to be seen, clung to his words. What started as therapy soon bled into daily texts, late-night calls, and then secret meetings outside his office. But what looked like care was actually control. Tyrek began isolating Emma from her friends and even some family members. He'd tell her that they didn't understand her healing, that he was the only one who truly knew how to help. Emma's world narrowed down to just him. When friends questioned the closeness of their relationship, she became defensive. Tyrek had already sown doubt in her mind about anyone who dared to challenge him. What none of them knew at the time was just how far he'd go to keep her. The turning point came when Emma decided to reestablish contact with her ex-husband. She said it was for the kids, but Tyrek saw it as betrayal. He reportedly became agitated, sending long, emotionally charged messages to her. He accused her of abandoning their bond and said she was slipping back into old toxic patterns. Emma began to feel suffocated and frightened. She tried to create some space, but Tyrek wouldn't let her go easily. Then Emma did the unthinkable. She reported Tyrek to the licensing board. She told them about the inappropriate relationship, the emotional manipulation, and how therapy had turned into obsession. Tyrek was placed under investigation and barred from seeing patients. But instead of backing down, he spiraled. Friends say he grew paranoid and delusional. He believed Emma had ruined his life and needed to pay for what she did. In the days leading up to the incident, Tyrek's behavior became increasingly erratic. Neighbors claimed they saw him parked outside Emma's bakery multiple times, just sitting and watching. He even tried to contact her through a fake email, pretending to be a new client. Emma was terrified. She told those close to her that she felt like she was being hunted, but no one thought it would end in bloodshed. On a quiet Thursday morning, Emma was preparing the bakery before opening. She was alone, no customers, no staff. That's when Tyrek entered. There was no struggle, no warning. Surveillance footage later revealed that he calmly walked in, approached her, and within moments, pulled out a concealed weapon. The attack was swift and brutal. Emma didn't survive. Tyrek fled the scene, but was arrested hours later, hiding in a motel nearby. The news of Emma's death sent shockwaves through the community. Customers who adored her pastries and warm smile were stunned. Her children were left without a mother. Tyrek was charged with first-degree murder. During the trial, prosecutors laid out the disturbing timeline of his manipulation and descent into madness. The jury took less than 2 hours to find him guilty. He's now serving a life sentence with no possibility of parole. What makes this case so chilling isn't just the violence, it's how easily Tyrek hid behind his professional title. As a therapist, he had access to Emma's deepest wounds, and he used them to manipulate, dominate, and ultimately destroy her. It's a reminder of how power can be abused, even under the guise of care. Emma's story isn't just about a failed relationship. It's about betrayal by someone meant to help. Since her death, Emma's family has worked tirelessly to advocate for stricter oversight of mental health professionals. They've pushed for laws that would prevent therapists from contacting clients outside of scheduled sessions, and for harsher penalties when boundaries are crossed. Her case has become a national conversation about safety in therapy and the thin line between help and harm. In the end, Emma was a mother, a baker, a friend. She sought healing, and instead found herself trapped in a nightmare no one saw coming. Tyrek wasn't just her therapist, he was her killer. And while justice has been served, the scars left behind can never truly be erased. If this story left you shocked, heartbroken, or angry, you're not alone. These tragedies remind us that evil can hide behind a smile, a profession, even a promise to help. Stay safe, stay aware, and if you or someone you know is in a vulnerable situation, reach out to trusted resources. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help keep Emma's story alive and raise awareness about the dangers of manipulation, even in places where we expect to feel safest. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode of Master Crimes.